Hello, friends, and welcome to today's episode. If you get rid of her, we'll have one more seat, someone in the back said. Now, things were going to get even worse. Jessica watched as her face got wet with a sense of being owed something. The young woman yelled, "This is my personal space." "No, it's not," said someone else in the car. The cop was losing his temper fast. When you're driving, the only people you should really think about are the other drivers. There shouldn't be any problems if everyone follows the rules of the road. But things are different if you don't have a car and have to take the bus or train. People pack into the train in big groups just to get to and from work. There are unwritten rules on the train, just like there are on the roads. When a woman broke these rules, everyone on the train chose to teach her how to behave on a train. After a long day at work, Jessica Hewitt was on her way home. It was rush hour, and she was running to catch the train. Since she lived in New York City, she was used to all the noise on the streets. The long trips to work and the always full trains. She thought that she had seen just about everything on these trains. During rush hours, it can be very uncomfortable to be a customer on a crowded train. Sometimes it gets so bad that it's hard to find a place to sit. As a matter of common politeness, a person should only take up one seat and leave the other seats open for other people. Today, Jessica was shocked by what she saw. When Jessica got on her train, she was too tired to do anything. She knew it would be crowded, but at least she hoped she could find a place to sit and rest for the next hour and a half. She pushed past people who were standing in the aisle to find a place. She went from carriage to carriage until she finally saw one. It was the very last car. A young woman was sitting next to an empty seat. She looked around at all the people who were still standing and wondered why no one had taken the seat. It looked fine, except for a bag sitting on the seat. She went up to the young woman and asked if she could have the place. She had no idea what was going to happen. When crammed into a small area with a lot of other people, there are many times when you might see someone acting in a bad way. In fact, the conditions on a train can sometimes bring out the worst in people. Some people play their music too loudly, eat too loudly, or shop their phone talks. But what this woman did on the train was a lot worse. "May I sit down here?" Jessica asked the woman nicely and pointed to a place that was empty. The woman had her big Louis Vuitton bag spread out next to her, which took up two places and made it impossible for other people to sit down. Jessica was about to realize that this one woman thought she was above the train's rules. The woman didn't pay any attention to Jessica at all. She had headphones in her ears and her eyes were glued to her phone. She didn't act like she knew she was there. At this point, the train had stopped again, and police had come into the box. At that moment, Jessica could feel the anxiety in the train. She looked around and saw that everyone was mad at the young woman. Jessica understood all of a sudden that she wasn't the first person to ask for this spot and be ignored or turned down. Right away, it was clear that these cops had come to see her. Jessica took a step back and watched what was going on. The cop went right past her and went straight to the young woman. Someone must have told on her already. She did what? The officer points to her and her bag and tells her to put it in the space above her. "No, don't touch my stuff," she yells, swatting his hand away. Then, the cop says, "Ma'am, put it up there or I'll get you off the train right now." The cop put out a hand to help her move her bag. "Don't touch my stuff," she snapped again as she took out her earphones and looked up from under her cap. The cop took his hand back and asked in a cool voice, "Can someone sit there?" "No," she said, "I don't want anyone to sit next to me. There are more seats open." The man sitting next to her couldn't take it any longer. He stops her rant by saying, "The train is already late, you're making everyone late." The woman gives him an angry look and keeps her fight with the police officer going. She doesn't want to move. But the other people on the train were done with it. Now, the crowd's anger was clear as the people around them responded with an uproar. "There's no room. No, there's no room. There's only standing room," they said with anger. Jessica thought this woman was probably trying to keep everyone from sitting in this spot. So many people were on their feet. The officer kept on talking. He was now getting stricter. "Ma'am, take off that bag or I'll kick you off the train right now," he said. Jessica could feel that the crowd was angry. She must have felt this way about herself for a while, If you get rid of her, we'll have one more seat, someone in the back said. But this made the situation worse. The spoiled woman then looks up and yells at a nearby customer, "You're not crippled and you're not pregnant. I don't want the bugs in your bed. I don't like the smell of you. You're a dirty person." Jessica couldn't believe how daring the woman was. She must have thought she was too good to even be on the train. Still, she kept going. The young woman yelled, "This is my personal space." "No, it's not," said someone else in the car. Now, the cop was getting more and more angry. She went on, "I don't care if I'm 90 pounds, 50 pounds, or 300 pounds, this is my personal space." Jessica suddenly realized why everyone was looking down on her so much. In the meantime, the cop got very angry. He was done. She needs to leave the train. "Get her off the train," he yelled angrily as he motioned for the other men to help her get off. The young woman's face showed shock. She was really upset that someone could tell her what to do. "You want some space for yourself? You'll have it outside," he said, and the people applauded to show that they agreed. The woman stared at the officer through her phone, as if she couldn't believe that someone had told her she was being rude. But she still wouldn't give up. Still, she refused to do as she was told, even though she had already made the train late by 25 minutes. But the cop wasn't going to give up. The woman didn't want to sit there, but she did, and she didn't move until the other cops started to walk toward her. As she got up and got her bags, she rolled her eyes and shook her head. She acted in a way that Jessica had never seen before when she left the train with the cops. Jessica didn't understand how someone could think she was so important that she needed other people to stand up for her. Someone on the train shared the video online, and people who watched it were just as mad at the young woman as the people on the train. One person said, "Perfect example of someone who feels entitled, just plain selfish. When a bunch of strangers tell you to leave, you should know something is wrong," said another. "I'm glad someone caught it on tape. Because of this tape, she will think about how bad she was for a long time. It's not hard to be nice," someone wrote on YouTube. "Girl, buy yourself a car or a helicopter where you can decide who gets in or not, lol," someone else wrote. But another person made a good point, "You're not disabled? Lots of people have disabilities that can't be seen. What a disgusting woman." A spokeswoman for NJ Transit said, in response to the now viral video, "We encourage customers to make every seat available by putting bags on their laps or in the luggage racks above them and listening to train crews." In reaction, the woman who posted the video told her that people weren't mad at NJ Transit, but rather at the woman who had delayed everyone's trip. After the young woman left and the officer gave the train the go-ahead to move again, a customer standing next to Jessica motioned for her to take the place. The kind stranger's response was so different from what had just happened that Jessica couldn't help but be very moved by him. It was as if he gave her hope in people right then and there. Jessica hasn't seen such selfish behavior on the train again since that day, but she still looks for an empty seat on the crowded train after work. That's what it costs to live in a place like New York. Everywhere we look, we see both good and bad behavior. We are people because of this, right? Seeing something wrong and righting it. That's it for today, friends. Please let us know what you think about this story. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon for more amazing stories.